The other night, I was invited out for a night with the girls. I told my husband that I would be home by midnight. Well, the hours passed and the margaritas went down way too easily. Around 3 a.m., a bit loaded, I headed home. Just as I got in the door, the cuckoo clock in the hallway started up and cuckooed 3 times. Quickly, realizing my husband would probably wake up, I cuckooed another 9 times. I was really proud of myself for coming up with such a quick-witted solution in order to escape a possible conflict with him. The next morning, my husband asked me what time I got in. I told him midnight. He didn't seem pissed off in the least. Whew, I got away with that one. Then he said, "But we need a new clock." When I asked him why, he said, "Well, last night our clock cuckooed 3 times, then said, oh shit." Cuckooed 4 more times, cleared its throat, cuckooed another 3 times, giggled, cuckooed twice more, and then tripped over the coffee table and farted. Has taken the day off to pick up his new BMW convertible. It is a beautiful day, so he decides to put the top down and take it for a drive in the country. As he drives down the country road, he notices a young boy hitchhiking along the road. Anxious to show off his new car, the businessman pulls over to the side of the road and tells the kid to get in. At that point, the kid whistles, and a large yellow dog comes running out of the woods beside the road. The businessman says, "Wait a minute. You can't bring that big dog into my new car. He's all covered with mud and I have these nice new leather seats." The kid says, "That's okay, mister. My dog will run alongside of the car." The businessman says, "It's your dog," and they drive off with the dog running alongside of the car. The businessman is showing the kid the neat features of his new car and forgets all about the dog. Suddenly he remembers and says, "Oh my God, where's your dog?" The kid says he's right alongside of the car. The businessman looks down at his speedometer, and he is doing 60 miles per hour. "I don't think a greyhound can run this fast, let alone a big yellow dog," the businessman says. "I told you he was fast. The kid says he won't have any problem staying up with your car." This makes the businessman a little miffed, so he presses down on the gas pedal and runs the speed up to 70. "How is your dog doing now?" he says. "The dog is doing fine." The kid responds he's really fast. The businessman mashes down on the gas until he is doing 90, and then hollers over at the kid. "Is your dog still keeping up?" Yet the kid hollers back he's breathing hard, but he is still alongside of the car. The businessman can't believe it, so he slams on his power brakes, screeches to a stop, unbuckles his seatbelt, and leans over the kid to have a look. Sure enough, there is the dog. "I'm flabbergasted," says the businessman. "That must be the fastest dog in the world. He looks like a regular dog, except what is that pink ring around his neck?" "Oh, that's his butthole," the kid says. He's not used to stopping that fast. 2 American men are touring Europe and are scheduled to arrive in France Sunday afternoon. However, they arrived several hours early and had little to do on Sunday morning while everything was closed. "Well," one says to the other, pointing to a nearby cathedral, "why don't we attend Mass?" "Sure," replies his friend, "but we don't know how the French pray and we can't speak French." The first guy thinks of a solution. "We'll pick a guy in front of us, and whatever he does, we'll do." His friend agrees. They enter the church, sit close to the front, and choose a guy. 15 minutes pass, and their plan is working well. 30 minutes, no issues. By the time 45 minutes pass, they've gotten used to the routine. Suddenly, while everyone is seated, the priest says something in French, and the gentleman they chose stands up. Without thinking, the 2 Americans stand up as well. The church bursts into hard laughter. Realizing that no one else is standing up, the 2 American men leave in embarrassment. They wait for the Mass to end and then approach the priest, who spoke English. "We're well-meaning people. We don't speak French and just chose some guy to imitate while praying," one says. The priest chuckles. "You're probably wondering why everyone laughed at you." "Yes," replied the other American. "Well, you see, I announced the baptism of a child and asked for the father of the child to stand up." A golfer walks into the clubhouse of the local country club. He tells the golf pro behind the counter that he wants to do 18, and he is going to need a caddy. The golf pro informs him that the country club is running a promotion, and if he tries out one of their experimental robot caddies, he can golf for free. The golfer agrees and takes out the robot. While on the golf course, the robot caddy tells the golfer the wind speed, distance, even how hard to hit which club. He has the best game of his life. The next time the golfer goes to the country club, he tells the golf pro that he wants to do 18 holes and that he wants to get one of the robot caddies. He informs the golfer that they don't have the robot caddies anymore. The golfer, all upset, tells him how great they were and asks him what happened. The golf pro tells him that members were complaining that the sun would reflect of their metallic material and into their eyes. The golfer asks him why they didn't just paint the robots black. The golf pro said that they did, but the next day 3 of them didn't show up, and the other 3 robbed the pro shop. An elderly couple recently moved back south to Tennessee from Indiana. The husband had a wooden leg, and to get insurance on it back in Indiana, it would cost them $2,000 per year. When they arrived in Tennessee, they went to an insurance agency to see how much it would cost to insure his wooden leg. The agent looked it up on the computer and said, $39. The husband was shocked and asked why it was so cheap here in Tennessee to insure it because it cost him $2,000 in Indiana. The insurance agent, who also happened to be the town's volunteer fire chief, turned his computer screen to the couple and said, "Well, here it is on the screen. It says, any wooden structure with a sprinkler system above it is $39. You just have to know how to describe it." The IRS decides to audit Grandpa and summons him to the IRS office. The auditor was not surprised when Grandpa showed up with his attorney. The auditor said, "Well, sir, you have an extravagant lifestyle and no full-time employment, which you explain by saying that you win money gambling. I'm not sure the IRS finds that believable." "I'm a great gambler and I can prove it," says Grandpa. "How about a demonstration?" The auditor thinks for a moment and said, "Okay, go ahead." Grandpa says, "I'll bet you $1,000 that I can bite my own eye." The auditor thinks a moment and says, "It's a bet." Grandpa removes his glass eye and bites it. The auditor's jaw drops. Grandpa says, "Now I'll bet you $2,000 that I can bite my other eye." Now the auditor can tell Grandpa isn't blind, so he takes the bet. Grandpa removes his dentures and bites his good eye. The stunned auditor now realizes he has wagered and lost $3,000, with Grandpa's attorney as a witness. He starts to get nervous. "Want to go double or nothing?" Grandpa asks. "I'll bet you $6,000 that I can stand on one side of your desk and pee into that wastebasket on the other side and never get a drop anywhere in between." The auditor, twice burned, is cautious now, but he looks carefully and decides there's no way this old guy could possibly manage that stunt, so he agrees again. Grandpa stands beside the desk and unzips his pants, but although he strains mightily, he can't make the stream reach the wastebasket on the other side, so he ends up urinating all over the auditor's desk. The auditor leaps with joy, realizing that he has just turned a major loss into a huge win. But Grandpa's own attorney moans and puts his head in his hands. "Are you okay?" the auditor asks. "Not really," says the attorney. "This morning, when Grandpa told me he'd been summoned for an audit, he bet me $25,000 that he could come in here and pee all over your desk and that you'd be happy about it." 3 guys go to the golf club looking for a 4th, as their buddy moved out of state. They find a guy sitting at the bar. "Yeah, I can play around with you guys on Saturdays, but there might be times when I'm a little late." They head out to the course, and the new guy is amazing, clearly a better player than the other guys. They have a good round, then make plans to meet next Saturday, same time. "Don't forget I might be a little late," the newcomer reminds them. The next Saturday, the guy is on time, carrying left-handed clubs. Another amazing game. He easily outplays the others. They finish back at the club, plan to meet again next week. "Don't forget I might be late." The following Saturday, he is on time, with right-handed clubs again, and has yet another amazing game. As they head back to the club after the game, one of the guys asks, "It's amazing how good you play, both left and right-handed. How do you decide which way you're playing?" "Well, when I wake up in the morning, I see how my wife is sleeping. If she is laying on her left side, I play left-handed. If she's laying on her right, I play right-handed." "What if she's sleeping on her stomach?" one of the guys asks. "Those are the days that I'll be late,"